things you should consider before making this your living space. The first thing you should do is make sure you get all the required permits, check for code requirements, and I called them allowable. The reason is the project that we're working on in this garage is called an ADU, or an accessory dwelling unit. Typically when you convert a garage in California, or really anywhere, I believe, check with your local ordinances in your state, you have to make up for the parking that is now not available in the garage. We have a 2-car garage here that we're converting. Normally the rule or the law in California and here in Kern County is that you have to provide 2 off-street parking spaces and make those available prior to building the unit. So if you're having to pay for building or constructing off-street parking, and for us it's 35 feet from top of concrete on the city side of the sidewalk. So from there back 35 feet is where our parking can start. And then I believe it is a 9x18 pad that we have to have available for the parking. You want to look into things like that before you get started. What we were able to do is in 2020, I believe it was because of COVID, California passed a new law that as long as the garage was converted into an accessory dwelling unit, then we were allowed to bypass providing the off-street parking. And one of the stipulations to that was we had to prove that we had public transit availability within half a mile, I believe is what it was, to our residents. Luckily, right down the street here, we have a public bus stop. I don't know why, but that's one of the rules. Second tip, you want to research all of your upgrades or improvements, because those can come back and bite you in the butt. For example, we have a main panel upgrade that we were wanting to do from the very beginning of the project. We were going from a 100 amp to a 200 amp. We already started the project and got concrete done and started on the framing, then contacted PG&E to start the process for our application and permit because they got to do the meter swap and stuff like that. What we found out after inquiring about that is that our wire in the ground is only a 100 amp direct burial wire. Therefore, it's not rated for the 200 amp panel. That cost us an extra $6,000. That needs to be taken care of prior to starting any project. Water heater, electric panel, just make sure that kind of stuff is going to be enough to provide for the addition and what you're adding onto your home as well. Third thing we're going to talk about is your budget. Make sure that you've got a line item budget. Don't skimp it so that it looks better and cheat some numbers down so that it feels like you can actually afford the addition or remodel. Add everything up that you want to do. Get 3 estimates from each contractor for the work that you're not doing yourself. That's definitely recommended by the California State License Board as well. Take maybe the middle cost of those 3 estimates and use those in your budget. Make sure, when you're figuring out what this cost is going to be total for you guys, just make sure that you're taking maybe the middle cost, because you don't want to go with the most expensive guy and you definitely don't want to go with the cheapest guy. So you want to find somebody that's kind of in the middle. This isn't really like a full tip on how to hire a contractor, just so that you guys are aware how to kind of get some of this cost together. I would say once you got your budget completely written out, I would say add 20% to that entire cost, because you want to make up for any kind of unforeseens or mistakes. There could be something that could take place in this project, like the electric panel. So if you're doing step 1, which is make sure you get all the required permits and you're double checking code requirements and allowances, then step 2, you're researching all of your upgrades and improvements on your home. Then step 3, creating your budget, should be fairly simple, and you really should have already kind of looked for most of the unforeseens. There will be some stuff that you didn't expect, and those things might pop up. For instance, let's say some water damage inside of a wall. Once you get the drywall off and you open up the walls, or some of the stucco, and there's dry rot in your wood, your framing. And then of course, if you want to add a closet here and there or move some outlets around, any kind of changes that you're going to make along the way that you think might help your quality of life while you're living in your new renovation or addition on your home. Sometimes you think of things after you've already kind of mapped everything out and got all the plans. Be aware of all of those things, triple check your budget, allow room for mistakes and unforeseens. Like I said, a good way of doing that is just add 20% to, don't cheat it down, get your actual cost, add 20% to that, and then really think about whether or not you can afford it, because it can be expensive. It's not something you want to get in the middle of and then realize you can't afford it. Maybe you don't have all the cash, so you're gonna have to take loans out, and you don't want to do a lot of that and get yourself in a huge financial burden just because you cheated some numbers down a little bit from the beginning. Don't cheat yourself, do the right thing, make sure you can afford it. I hope that really helped you guys. Check out our current progress on our ADU. Go ahead and subscribe and follow us during this process. Again, I hope this helped. Thanks.